stat, but 16 of 16 from the free throw line is, up there with, best Warriors performance ever. How big was that aspect of tonight, what he did?
Oh, it's huge. And it was the reason we became a good team last year. As soon as we got him, he provides that stability, the ability to get fouled and go to the line and settle the game down. He never turns the ball over. So he just controls the game out there for us. And we need that. We've always been at our best when we can, provide the support for Draymond and Steph's chaos with some stability. That's what Andre did, Sean Livingston, because the chaos is really powerful, but it can also get away from us. And Jimmy just settles us down, and thought he did a great job of that tonight.
Hey, Steve. Obviously, Jimmy's perception took a hit last season. And then as soon as he got here, he said his joy returned. He said he felt at home. Why do you think he has been such a good fit with this team?
Really, because he complements Steph and Draymond so well. What I just mentioned, the not only the free throws but the ball security. We've been a high turnover team for a long time, and so we need that his ability to settle down. And when you can get to the line like that, it puts a ton of pressure on your opponent, and on the nights when you maybe don't have the offensive flow, to be able to rely on that is huge.
Steve, you went to the Steph and Jimmy pick and roll, except where Jimmy's the ball handler and Steph's the screener. What made that so effective, especially late in the game?
Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler made that effective. Two of the best players in the league, and you do that because you don't want to turn it over. You want to run some clock, and you want to get a good shot. So you put your two best players in the play, and both guys made big shots, big plays. And I thought Jonathan's offensive rebound was kind of the play of the night for me, just sealing the game with that extra possession that we scored on.
Steve, you've been pleased with Jonathan's play for a few weeks now. What do you think has gotten him into such a solid rhythm early here?
I think he's really, really matured. He's had a great camp. We've had some really good conversations. I think he has a better understanding of, what we need. You saw in the first half, he took a couple tough mid-range fadeaways that we don't want. He immediately held up his hand. He realized, that was not the shot. He had a couple turnovers where he drove into traffic, and second half starts, and the whole talk at halftime was, let's use Steph Curry, let's use his movement and put pressure on the defense, and because we didn't do that in the first half. And Jonathan, the first few plays of the third quarter, it was beautiful. He screened for Steph, slipped to the rim. Draymond got him a bucket. We ran our split cut stuff. They both went with Steph. He hit the wide open three. I think he just has a better sense of what's needed now compared to past years. And I think Jimmy has really helped him too. Jimmy has really talked to him a lot during camp. He's taken him aside after practices. And I think Jonathan is, you got to remember, he just turned 23, So I talk about this a lot, but he's basically, he played 8 games in the G League bubble, then came to us basically as like a freshman in college. That's how I looked at it. And so a lot of the players today just don't get the same experience, reps that they did years ago. And for him, it hasn't been easy to find minutes on our team. And I'm really proud of him for staying with it and really maturing. And it's a great start for him and for us.
Hey, Steve, over here to your right. First game out of the box, you may not be exactly sure what it's going to look like. How close did this come to what you had hoped to see?
Second half is what we're hoping for. 6 turnovers, really good flow offensively, ball movement to force the defense to react. That's the team we're looking for. The defense I thought was great in the first half, other than the a few fouls. But Draymond was just a monster, guarding the whole court in that first half. It was amazing to watch. But, second half, that's how it has to look for us with the ball security and the movement and, Jimmy and Steph, playing through those guys and everybody else kind of filling their roles.
Steve, following up on Nick's question about Jonathan, it seemed like you mentioned the tip rebound late in the game, but also seemed like a few times he used his speed and strength to make a pass that maybe he wouldn't have made. And it seems like he's making quicker decisions, which is something you're always harping on.
Yeah.
How much is that part of his game essential to sort of what you need? And
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a decision-making sport, and all five guys are going to touch the ball, and they all have to make decisions. And as I said, our decision-making in the first half was poor, and second half it was much better. Our spacing was better, and JK made some really big plays and took care of the ball and was in the right spots, and it was an impressive performance.
Steve, back to Jimmy. What are the things he does that puts him in the position to make the right play, whether it's finishing or getting to the foul line, making the pass?
Just incredible strength, physical strength, and incredible fundamental base. 4 years at Marquette. I think it was maybe. I know he played 4 years of college. I think it was all at Marquette, but fundamentally sound, and then crafty. You saw Luka drawing fouls left and right. Jimmy's out there doing the same. When you're that strong and that fundamentally sound, and you have that big of a brain like Luka and Jimmy do, you just constantly are finding angles and creating contact where it's a foul on the defense. And not many guys can do that in the league, but both those guys tonight did it beautifully.
We know you've been a fan of Will Richard this preseason and training camp, but at what point did you know that you could trust him to play real rotation minutes?
I think it was after the first couple of exhibition games that he played in. The first week of camp, we're just installing stuff. We didn't really get a great look. And then, a couple of exhibition games, you just see him constantly making the right cut, being in the right place at the right time, like he was on that late clock offensive rebound that he scored on. Was that his first NBA hoop? I don't know. Maybe it was, but we gave him the game ball afterwards, for his first hoop. And I told him that, and I think it was his first NBA hoop, but I told the guys that usually I know when it's somebody's first hoop, and I make sure we get the ball from the officials right away. I completely forgot tonight, and I told the guys the reason I forgot is because Will looks like he's in his 7th year. He doesn't look like a rookie out there. And we eventually tracked the ball down, and he got it. So great night for Will. It was fun.
Steve, what made the spacing between Jimmy, Jonathan, and Draymond so much more effective tonight compared to some of the issues last season with that?
Well, I'm going to have to look at the tape. I didn't think the spacing was good at all in the first half. Second half was much better. I think we kind of have our spots that we have to get to when Jimmy is in isolation, and I think we did a better job of that in the second half. But and the ball movement, if you don't have spacing, if you can execute and get the ball moving side to side, that opens up possibilities too.
Steve, at least from the outside looking in, I think there were some questions when Jimmy came here, whether Jimmy and Draymond would mesh personality-wise. Seems like that has not been an issue at all. If anything, the opposite has happened. What have you seen behind the scenes from their chemistry and their relationship?
Yeah, I mean, two of the great competitors in the league. So being on the same team, I think they love competing together, It's just impressive to watch just how competitive, how physically tough, how smart they are, just making the right reads at both ends over and over. Yeah, they're loving playing together for sure.
Just how do you think, just in general, the starters looked, and then to kind of follow on that, totally different look on Thursday with Denver. Do you anticipate going with this look again, or maybe Al in the starting lineup? Just how do you?
Yeah, possibly Al. I mean, it's what I've told you guys last week is I don't want Draymond starting at the 5, 82 nights. So there will be nights where we start bigger. and we'll figure that out. Thanks.